What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of hopsgeeknews. As my wife sits here and decorates my Christmas tree for me, we are going to be talking about Skeleton Crew. So go ahead, like, subscribe, share, follow hopsgeeknews anywhere on podcast platforms, social media platforms. We are on YouTube mostly. So hop in the comment section if you would like to come and talk with us. We normally just bullshit on Cantina hours. And tonight we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew. So spoilers, ahoy. If you care about that sort of thing. My beer is called Gunner's Daughter from Mass Landing out of Portland, Maine. I chose Gunner's Daughter because I love that their peanut butter version of this. It also felt space piratey, I guess. But
I was
also,
gonna say, isn't there a boat on the can?
it is, yeah. But it's milk stout with raspberry flavors. And so that's why I chose that one. It's 5.5%. And so, Lauren, I'm going to throw it to you real quick so I can share this everywhere out there. What? Oh man, you got the yacht money, dude.
I got the yacht money because it's piratey. It's a boat. Well, there's no boat on here, but it's a skeleton. That's very piratey too. And there's lots of skeletons in this. And
Boats
you know
and
what? They
hoes.
just want gold and treasure and money. And yeah, we're not on the ocean, we're in space, but I'm loving the pirate vibes. I know it's not the ocean, but I love anything ocean related. And I have it in this Star Wars glass, which makes no sense at all because it's like a liquor glass. But my other Star Wars glasses are like
Sense if
up
you don't
high
think
right
about
now
it.
because I have all the Christmas glasses down below. So that's what I'm drinking. So yo
Look,
ho ho.
it makes perfect sense. Again, like who cares? Who cares? Like the glass at Star Wars. So why not?
Did I ever tell you about that documentary about it's so they did this documentary and they go to these different islands in the Caribbean and they try all these different pies and they
Ooh,
price all the pies
eyes.
out. It's really good. I recommend it. It's called The Pirates of the Caribbean.
The Pirates of the Caribbean. Uh, that's silly. That's funny.
I think I got that one from my brother.
Oh gosh. Wait, is that a real thing, or are you just making a pun that you stole from your brother?
Yeah, I stole it from my brother. I don't know who came up with it. Maybe it exists out there. Maybe we should do it. Maybe it'd be hosted by Dean Winchester.
Oh, we could. I was thinking like that's very supernatural esque. Like, was that like a real thing? But okay, all right. You know what? I'll give you that one. That's fair. Ooh, this tastes like a raspberry. This tastes like raspberry chocolate, like Lindt chocolate. If you ever
Ooh,
had, that's what this tastes
I
like.
love raspberry chocolate.
Very good, very good. Yes, we are live, folks. A normal departure from our typical stuff that we do. The dad jokes. Yeah, dude, my boy Andrew. Real quick, man. I
Oh,
got to go
moms
back
like
home.
dad jokes too.
Everybody, girls don't like boys. They like dad jokes. No, just kidding. Like cars and
Girls
money.
don't
According to
like
some, yeah,
boys. Girls
exactly.
like dad jokes and puns.
Oh God.
All
But
right.
I got to hang out with our friend, the Maynard Brewer, who is in the YouTube chat right now. We
Oh
went to a
yeah.
nice fun brewery. I subjected him to my friends and my children when I went back home for Thanksgiving. Oh man, he's such a great human being. He gave me a beer. It's downstairs in the fridge. Otherwise, I would have been drinking it right now from Amory's tomb. But go check out his YouTube channel especially if you like GI Joe and like 80s action figures. That's what he does over there. But really great dude. We are talking though Skeleton Crew tonight. The first 3 episodes are out from the new Disney Plus series on Star Wars. So Lauren, initial thoughts. How are you feeling, man? Because I'll be honest, like going into this, I was like, man, I'm just Star Wars. Like, I'm kind of tired. Like, I don't know if I'm excited. But what are you feeling right now? How are you feeling going into this? I guess.
So I was excited going into this because honestly, the only Star Wars thing I've been disappointed with watching it brand new was The Acolyte. I enjoyed Mando. I enjoyed all 3 seasons of Mando. I enjoyed Boba Fett. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. I absolutely loved Andor. So I was excited to be excited again about Star Wars. And I didn't really have many expectations. I really didn't know, people kept like, describing it as Goonies in space after we saw the trailer. But I was excited nonetheless because I do have faith that they realize they messed up with the Acolyte, and I'm hoping they're gonna fix it going forward, but I'm loving it so far. I think it's
God,
fantastic.
bring my boy Quimir back. He deserves better.
I
Please.
well, yeah, there was a great idea for the Acolyte. It just didn't translate, and I don't even know exactly why. I mean, I don't write TV shows, so that would make sense why I don't know why. But it did fall for me, and it was one of those like, why am I not liking this? Whereas like Secret Invasion, I knew the things I didn't like. Watching the
Right.
Acolyte, I didn't know why I didn't like it so much because I'm not somebody who goes into it being like, this is going to be garbage. I feel like I go into it usually with a pretty positive attitude. I loved season 3 of Mandalorian. I thought it was fantastic. I loved Bo Katan's story. I like called the dark saber thing one of the few predictions I ever got right. Like, I thought the
That's true.
Jack
You
Black
did get that right.
episode was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So like I really like enjoyed that. And I know a lot of people kind of shit on it. So I'm happy to be happy again about Star Wars.
No, I agree. I was, like I said, I was going and I was very kind of disenfranchised from Star Wars because the Acolyte I thought was awesome. The story was lacking, but I liked that Darth Plagueis got introduced, and then of course Quimir was awesome. The fight sequences were
Yeah, the
dope,
fight
dude.
sequences
Like
are
Daphne,
fantastic.
and then they just canceled it, and then Star Wars continuously says, "Hey, we're doing this thing," but then it never happens, and so I was like, whatever. I apologize in the background. That noise is my wife doing my tree real quick, but so going in, it was like whatever.
So
But
Josh is not in here putting a tree up for me. What
no,
the
no,
hell?
she's the best, legit. Like the fact that she's even like
Josh is
decorating my little
not the
Christmas tree,
best.
dude. She's the best. Sorry, Josh. Carrie can come your way. She can decorate your Christmas tree in your little room too, the room that you have with the fridge and everything. But legit though, this show it captures the spirit. When going into the series, they were like it's like Space Goonies, and it really kind of is. I thought that the cast and the crew is great. So, we're basically in the suburbs in episode 1 of a planet called Aten. So,
Which I feel like they
AT-AT.
killed that.
Yeah.
I thought they did such a
Yes.
fantastic job. Like this is exactly what you would expect the suburbs to look like in Star Wars.
I mean, legit though. It really does. It's the suburbs to start with. They got like space buses, they got space motorcycles, and I thought it was really cool because
But it was
Ravi Kobot Conyers who plays Wim, and then you also have Robert Timothy Smith who plays Neil, who he actually is also from Dear Santa with Jack Black, which was a decent Christmas movie. If you haven't watched
oh,
that, like
oh, that's
he
funny.
accidentally he's dyslexic, so he sends a letter to Satan, and that's who comes up. But
Right.
um, yeah, they're both great, and they're kids, and they capture that excitement. They're so into like they know about the Jedi, which is something else that I really liked because too often in Star Wars at its core is like a Jedi, right? Like everybody knows the Jedi, and so they try to pretend that nobody knows who the Jedi are after the Empire rises. And so with this one, the fact that the kids they're playing with Jedi and Sith action figures, women Neil are pretending to lightsaber battle before school. Like I thought that was really cool. It's like that's kid stuff, but for Star
Yeah.
Wars.
And it was just nice to get a different perspective too. I mean, the more we're learning, the more we're like, oh, they were literally shielded from the rest of the world. So it might not be exactly what we were imagining the first episode, but it was just kind of neat to see like there are people that even when everything's falling apart, they're still living perfectly quote unquote normal lives. So, and then you see the people who are really being negatively impacted by the empire and you see all these different facts of life, which is
Yeah.
in real world. We're all living different lives in this real world. But what was interesting too is the way they portrayed the suburbs wasn't just like the suburbs in Star Wars. It was the 1970s suburbs in Star Wars. Like the house you
Oh
could
yeah,
like
like
take
the nuclear family kind of deal going on. Yeah.
well, just like you take the house and like, if you never saw the Brady Bunch, picture WandaVision in the 70s one when she has the babies. Like that was like that house Star Wars-esque. And like you still see like the dad has the big glasses. Like I love the consistency that they have maintained of keeping a 70s feel to Star Wars because that was obviously in the first Star Wars and A New Hope.
Yeah.
And so they've done a great job of keeping that and not making it futuristic, ironically.
Well, they did what they
Makes
didn't.
sense.
First of all, I do want to agree with this. One of the comments from our boy Andrew, it's great to see a planet that wasn't trashed but looked clean and healthy. Yeah, because how often do we visit different planets in Star Wars and they're just like these dumps, these like slave havens, and because that's what the Empire created. Or I mean, you got Coruscant, but from Coruscant you went to all these other places, and so it was really cool seeing like you're right. It's just the normal lives, normal species, normal lives, but it had a very 70s nuclear feel to it at the same time. Like if you were to make a commercial for what you thought the future was like in the 70s, this would probably be it. Alien species and all, who knows? And so I really like that. And then we also have Kiarana Kreider, who plays KB, and then Ryan Kira Armstrong, who plays Fern. I like those two characters because they're like your badass girls, right? So in the first
Yeah, very
episode,
strong characters.
yeah, it's all about like a kid, Wim, missing his test. And so he takes a motorbike. He saw these two girls drop down over the guardrail. He does the same. He thinks he found a Jedi temple, which I thought was really cool. Like, oh, cool, Jedi temple. That's sick, dude. Like, yes, yes. And so they're fighting over. They kind of link up. Hey, we found it. I called keeps. No, I found dibs. I thought that was really because you're kids. Again, like kids are going to call dibs on stuff like this. Turns out to be a ship. And it turns out to be a ship that takes off and leaves as Wim's father, played by Tundi. I cannot even pretend to announce
Okay.
Adempibi.
You know there was something that happened with his wife. Like the way he looked so comatose in the
Yes.
third episode. And I'm wondering if his wife is still alive.
Yeah, they're all
She fled
freaking
out of
out,
the
and
show.
he just sits down like
He's like almost like he's done this before,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's already like kind of given up.
I've got something I gotta say on the third episode. But the first episode ends.
Sorry.
They launch off. Second episode, that's where they go ahead.
What about in the first episode? They had a nod to the Christmas special.
Oh yeah, dude, you hit that. I
hilarious.
forgot. They did have a nod to the Christmas special. Yes.
I was like, is this actually happening? Are we recognizing the Christmas special and making the Christmas special canon?
Of course we are. That's
Poor
the
George
thing.
Lucas. Do you think George Lucas signed off on that? Do you think he even knows about it? Like, do you
He
think he
probably
called and was like,
does.
"What the hell are you doing?"
He was like, "Did you guys really include the Christmas special?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
That was phenomenal. Anybody who doesn't remember, it was when Neil's little siblings were like watching the thing on the table come to life. I don't know if it was exact because I only watched the Christmas special once because one can only watch it once.
Oh
It's
God, we
officially
did
canon.
once
I
upon a
love
time
it.
for this podcast. We did.
Yes, we did. But I do wonder how close those scenes were, but it took me right back to the Christmas special.
It was something. Of all the things that I've seen, it was something. But they did make a nod to the Christmas special, which is just so much dude, it was just ridiculous. I love it. I love it so much. But in episode 2, so like as we're leaving, we get SM33 played by Nick Frost, who you might know from, a Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead. He's Simon Pegg's like cohort. He's like the Rob Schneider before Rob Schneider went crazy to Simon Pegg,
And shout out to
and your mom.
DT. I didn't pick up that the SM33 was Smee.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't either. Oh, like from Hook?
Commented, yeah, he's like, did they really just name that droid Smee? And I was like, oh, I must have just not heard his name. And then when I was watching it today, the third episode today, and I saw SM33, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what SM33. It's Shmi. That was like that. I think it's genius.
Honestly, I didn't pick that up either. I honestly, I guess that shows because I'm like so immersed into it. Like that's really good.
But in Mando, they had the one character that straight up was dressed like Smee.
That's true. They did. Yeah,
and when we get to episode 3, I have another thing that I personally noticed, but it might just be in my own head. So episode 2, though, some of this stuff was hilarious. You saw a droid covered in tattoos giving tattoos, which I thought was so funny. And we saw Steve Urkel. I did like a double.
Yes,
I was like, wait, is that Urkel? Like, where the hell has he been? And when I saw that, then I was like, wait, I think we actually heard about this and I forgot about it.
Oh my God.
I hope he comes back.
I think
I hope he breaks something and says, did I do that?
Oh,
my mom. Hi, Mom.
Yes, we ended up at this random planet, right? The kids get imprisoned, and lo and behold, they run into Jude Law's character, who we saw him in the first episode, right? So the entire series opens up with this big score going down. It's space pirates. They go to a ship, and there's a masked pirate who's like, "This is the big thing," and they break into this vault, and there's 1 credit, and from there, his crew
they get
basically
mad that they lost good people, which I thought was interesting.
Yes, they lost good men to get this 1 credit, and so they kind of jump him, and from there it moves to At-Aten. And so we meet Jude Law in a cell at this point, and he uses the Force to get the key, which is interesting. And immediately Wim is like, "You're a Jedi," because he used the Force. He gets the key. They get out.
Never said he wasn't a Jedi.
He never did. And so that's kind of like where there's not really much in this episode, but there is a lot. Like they go to the planet. They're trying to figure out how to get back to Atten because it's not on any map, which is really interesting. Really interesting that it's
Well,
not on any map,
there's another planet that wasn't on any map either
which
in
is
episode 2, which is the planet I can't think
Camino,
of. Yes,
baby.
Camino. So
Yeah,
maybe somebody
I
took it
got you.
off of a
Don't worry, I
map.
got you.
I would have gotten there eventually. The
Well,
synapses just needed to connect.
what
It
do you
would
have
have
any
taken me a
other
while.
thoughts on episode 2 before we dive into some 3+ theories? Because I actually have some theories to present to the class, if you will. This is a very nice tree
Oh,
my wife set up over here.
shout out to Screen Crush. I try not to watch them because I don't want to take my opinions and take credit for what they said, but there was something that they mentioned because one of the things I did notice right away, the second I put it on, I saw DJ Rex. We did talk about this on our show, which DJ Rex is in Oga's Cantina now. He plays the music, but he used to pilot
Yes.
the Star Tours rides. So we saw him driving the bus, which was so freaking cool. And then there was another nod. You found a Star Tours cruiser ship in this episode, in episode 3,
Yes.
right?
In episode
Okay.
3, there was one. Yes.
But in episode 2, when they're on the pirate, like island, the planet, whatever it is, there was a bird, and this one's from Screen Crush. There's a little pink bird, and I remember them seeing it. That bird was in the Captain EO show at Epcot years ago. It started in the 80s, and then they like got rid of it, and it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, I think. And then they brought it back, but Captain EO was there within the last like 12 years. But it's like a 20-minute long show, just like a video, and Michael Jackson's in it, but this bird was in it. But it had like Steven Spielberg was part of it and
Really?
everything. So I would not have picked that up because I have not watched the Captain EO show in
I
probably over a
haven't.
decade.
I've never seen the Captain EO show.
So it used to be, I want to say it was right next
Your
to where
mom says she
Figment
remembers
is.
the bird.
So did you pick that up though? Like I would have never picked that up. Like somebody I guess
Absolutely
random
not.
at Screen Crushed it or whatever told them. So their videos are fantastic. I love their videos. Tim, here's your Stanley cameo. Tim got me hooked on their videos. But yeah, fantastic fun facts and like what a fun little Easter egg. And it's like I almost feel like I know some people are like, we get it, Disney owns you and it's all gone downhill after Disney. But like as somebody who loves Disney, I genuinely
Your
love
mom
this
said
crap.
Captain EO was Michael Jackson. Whoa,
Yeah.
that's something I never knew. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
it's
cool.
weird. It's a weird video. I'm sure
I
it's
had
on
no idea.
YouTube
That's cool.
somewhere.
I had no idea.
But it was like it was played at Epcot.
Oh,
At least that's where I
okay.
saw it last time. Maybe it was somewhere before. I don't know. Mom
Well,
was the origination of Captain EO at Epcot?
well, in
We'll
the
find out.
meantime, rolling into episode 3, which was just released today, they escape and they basically are like, if you could escape the whole time, why didn't you just do it? And Jude Law's character, who is Jod Nawood, was
He
like,
says why.
didn't have a ship. Why would I
He
escape
even
if I had
mumbled
no
to
ship?
himself, like I was waiting for the right time.
Yeah, and he does show things of the Force, like he knows when people are coming down the hallways and stuff. But also, so does
Oh, he's
KB.
definitely
At
Force
one point,
sensitive.
KB was like,
Well, is that
but
the
then
Force or is
he
that
said
her technology?
well, that's interesting because then Jude Law's character was like, the Force flows through us all. Did you catch that too? When
I
he was like,
did.
you're Force sensitive too, and he was like, the Force flows through us all.
But
Like,
I think
that
that
was
he was
interesting.
trying to keep perceiving that he clearly has knowledge of the Jedi.
Something sus with him, right?
Yeah, he even says something at some point like that's not a saying of the Jedi. So he has some knowledge.
Oh, they say don't ever leave a man behind, and he's like, the Jedi never said that.
Right, which I don't
And
think they ever did. It's not
no,
Lilo
they
and
never say
Sid.
never leave a man behind. They're not
Right.
the Marines or whatever.
They're very
it is.
quick to leave somebody behind. Look at they made Anakin leave Padme behind. Like
The Jedi are
Jedi
very
are
much a not innocent good guy in this world today. Okay, like all I'm gonna say is
They
the
ain't with you to the
Jedi
end of the
leave
line.
many men behind. Trust me on that.
But it's like you also always have to look. It's like how old was he when the Jedi had to go into hiding? So
True. Well, yeah, that's another good point because he's kind of older and haggard in this. So like he must have maybe he's a Padawan who
Yeah.
never fully got to know the Force, and so he became a pirate during the Empire because that would make sense.
Well, and I thought it was funny too that he doesn't like droids because neither does Mando, and I
Oh
gotta
my!
assume
Neither
they're
does
about the same
Obi-Wan.
age.
No, he was
So
the
it's
same as
like,
Obi-Wan.
oh,
Obi-Wan hated droids. Remember, he hated droids, and so my first thought was when he's talking about like droids and he's treating Smee, he gives him the dish, and Smee's like looking down, like
he's like clean it.
then he
Or
knocks
clean
it
this,
off,
yeah.
and he's just like, "What the hell?" Like He treats
I
droids
liked
like
when he
third class
turned
citizens.
I like
Yeah,
when he
like,
turned the battle droid on, and the battle droid's like,
oh, the battle.
"Did
Did
we
we win?
win?" And then he just collapses.
And then he
I
like
thought that was
collapses and his head
cute.
falls off. That was good.
Yeah.
I love a good like battle droid cameo because it is the battle droids also were like collateral damage. They didn't know anything better, but
Well, they
yeah,
created
like
them to
he
be collateral damage.
yeah, but yeah, like
But
he thinks droids are very second class citizens,
so that
obviously.
was a real droid. How many times did we get real droids before that weren't CGI?
Not very often. I can tell you that much.
'Cause, like, when I
Um,
think battle droid, I almost think, like, CGI scene. I mean, none of the all the clones were CGI back then too. It's so funny how we
there
went full CGI and now we're almost, like, pulling back from
we're
that.
back to the practical effects. Yeah,
Well, because
we
you look
are
at all the movies that have practical effects, it just aged so much
practical. Dude,
better.
look at Lord of the Rings, man. Look at the movies that do practical effects. Like that
I know,
holds
it
up better than
practically looked like
CGI.
everyone in those movies was walking. I believed it, even the trees were walking. So, one of the things I noticed, and I wanna know if anybody else did, so, you know the part where all the kids are, like, sleeping and it's, like, supposed
Yes.
to be a pirate ship? I swear to God, it sounded like the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Like, when you're
Oh,
on the boat and, like,
maybe.
nothing's happening yet, it didn't stay that way, and so it might have just been in my own delusional brain that that's what I
Lauren was on
heard.
her own Pirates of the Caribbean ride
I
at
was
this
like,
point.
like, the beginning where it's like, "Doo" I'm not even gonna try to make the sound. It's just, like, when nothing's going on, and it's just, like, setting, like, the tone for the ride. And I heard
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think it would
Well, it
make
wouldn't
complete
surprise
sense.
me. We had a Star Tours cameo. I mean, this is popping up. My bad. But yeah, it was a star. There was the Star Tours cameo because that's where we got that. But I love like again in this particular series that the kids dynamic is selling the series for me. It's so lighthearted. It is so
And
like
innocent, so innocent,
curious. It's yeah,
which
innocent and curious.
we don't get a lot of we don't ever get innocent in Star Wars because
Oh
it's like
no. No.
even, Leia, young Leia was not innocent. You look at
No.
Ezra, not innocent. Like these were kids who had to grow up too fast, knew too much that they shouldn't have known, but they probably needed to know.
I mean,
And like
Ahsoka
this
was
is,
even a kid in the Clone
oh my
Wars,
god,
and
Ahsoka, that
she
was fucking
was
child abuse with how little
yeah,
she
she was a
was.
child soldier, man. Like, yeah.
As are a lot of
Uh,
the Jedi, as maybe this guy was, but these were true innocent children who are like, life is so boring. Oh, I have to go take a test. Like just bitching about their perfect
and
lives and
now
their fancy houses. Now
they
they're like,
were,
I
and
just
so
want to go home.
they want to
Which
go
y'all
home, but the
soft.
planet's not showing up on a map. So that brings me to this. Like in this episode, they go to the moon planet where he's got a friend who might stab in the back. First of all, it turns into be an owl type character that
Yeah, that was
I
kind of
would
cool
die for. She
actually.
was awesome. She calls the Republic on them. So because my first thought when there's clearly something with this planet that she kind of explains there's a barrier and she has them explain the barrier. It's like the smoky, cloudy thing. And she explains that like some planets tried to be hidden, which I found was interesting. How do you hide a planet? And my
Yeah.
next thought went to, okay, did they somehow end up in the same universe as Ahsoka? Because the barrier in my head was like, oh, they space whaled it somehow to this other dimension where Ahsoka might be hanging out with all whatever's going on over there. But then they were like, well, they're hiding planets. And I'm like,
But there wasn't a
okay,
barrier on the planet Ahsoka was on. But
no,
it could be the
but
same kind of thing. I didn't even
it
think of that.
could be because they could be. So in the books and things like even Palpatine was afraid of the Yuzong. I can never pronounce their thing right. There's
Especially when you just read
these
it.
species that is just terrifies even Palpatine, and they're out there in deep space, and
Oh, were
so
they the ones not the ones from the High Republic era?
no, no, it wasn't
Okay.
them. But that's kind of my thought. Like, what if they're trying to fold them into it later on? Like that could be the next trilogy if they ever decide to get off the ground. And Ahsoka's trapped in her thing. What if we somehow have these kids from the Skeleton Crew trapped in this dimension, and they meet Ahsoka and they all come back somehow? Because it's really interesting that there's something hidden about at Atten, but
And
the
Ahsoka and
Republic
this are
is
taking
there,
place at the same time, right?
right? But they're currently where the Republic is, so we see the X-wings come in, and so they can't be in this other dimension because the Republic probably wouldn't exist in this other dimension. So it's interesting, like, why were we hiding? It's clear that why they would hide planets, right? Like the planets
Okay,
were untouched by the Empire, so they couldn't
but
control
are
these
the
planets.
planets is this planet being hidden for its own safety, or, like, what, like, the kids start to do it, like, "Well, what is your parent?" "My parent's an analyst." Like, "Well, what do they analyze?" "What is the great work?" "What are they
Exactly.
doing?" "What are they creating?" Like,
There's something on
is
this
there
planet, and
treasure?
then
I mean, even their
she
credits,
was
though, people are, like, losing their mind over their credits.
yeah, and then even she was like to the X-wing pilot, she's like, "You, where'd these kids? I gotta get this kid." And she's like, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you."
I do like that the
So
X-Wing
it's
was like they're like, "Why didn't you get him?" They're like, "We couldn't risk it with the kids on board." But do you
that
think those
was
kids
nice, yeah.
realized that they were potentially murdering people when they were shooting at them? They're like, "Oh, I got that one."
No,
I don't think that they understood. I think they
I don't
really
think
just looked
they
at it like a video game.
well, and then also like Jude Law's character, right? He's they know something sus with him at this point. He can't be trusted. They know he's a pirate. Obviously, Fern's character was like,
Yeah,
"I'm
I
captain
love
of the
the
ship. He
idea of a
can't be
Jedi
trusted." Like
pirate.
he's a pirate.
Yeah.
He can't be trusted. He
They've
just wants their
played him
treasure. They're
good,
very
though.
aware. Well, they're very aware that he just wants their treasure, and they're fine with that because they just want to get home. And so at that point, it's interesting. It's a dilemma. So do you trust this guy who may or may not be a Jedi to get you home, or do you trust the Republic who doesn't believe your planet exists? You're a myth. And it brings up that interesting dilemma to take these kids to make this really adult decision.
Well, and they don't call it the New Republic. Don't they just call it the Republic?
Yeah, they did just call it the
And
Ooh,
they
I
didn't
that's
know
a good
about the war.
catch.
She said something about Great War, and they're like, "War? What are you talking about?" And the only
Oh,
planets they knew about was Coruscant and Alderaan, and they make a comment of,
oh
like, "You're not up
yeah.
to date if they still think Al." I mean, at this point, like, Alderaan didn't blow up that long ago, but still,
Well, in the
word should have
grand
gotten
scheme of
around about
things,
that.
it was
Like, what, 10
12
years?
years, 10 to 12 years most between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. So yeah, it wasn't that long ago. But that's a good point. They didn't know about any of this stuff. So like, again, their planet was hidden. So the
Or do they just
Empire
not
probably
tell the kids? I
couldn't.
don't know.
Well, they probably don't teach it in school, right? So if the
Right.
world and planet is hidden, have you ever read the
You're
book The
cut
Giver?
off. The Giver. No, I think I've heard of it, but I don't
So
know, I haven't read it.
there's a book called The Giver. It's basically like in the future, this advanced society, you're born and they select you for jobs and classes. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from this planet. Like you have
Yeah,
your
with the
workers, you
test?
have
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of the vibe this planet was giving off. So I'm curious, like when do they tell the kids? So the at the beginning of the episode, you had Wim's dad kind of sitting there looking shell shocked. The rest of the parents were very worried and things like that. Like Wim's dad kind of know like there's something. He had to have somehow
Yeah.
gotten to this planet.
I
There's
think
a
his
lot of
wife's still alive.
mystery.
I won't be surprised if his wife shows up at some point, that she fled to go find new information, or she accidentally left, or something. Somehow she got out of the
Expedition or
barrier. Yeah, who knows? But there's something, 'cause he just looks like, "Fuck, I'm doing this again. This sucks. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me again."
yeah.
And, like, Win
Everybody's freaking
remembers
out and
his
he's not.
mom. Right,
Yeah.
so it couldn't have been that long ago. But then, like, Fern's mom is obviously a higher up. It was driving me nuts because I couldn't remember who she was. Anybody who you knew who she was, Matt's not gonna know. She was, in Breaking Bad. She was Mike's daughter-in-law. So she was
Oh yeah,
Kaylee's
no.
mom in Breaking Bad. So I had to look it up because I'm like, "Why do I know her?" And she's so sweet in Breaking Bad. But she almost seemed like a little evil to me, and now I don't know that she is. I she seems just naive. It seems like Wynn's dad is the most informed, and, like, she
Yeah.
seems like she knew what to do and knew what to tell her daughter and this and that, and she was very, like, high strung, like, it seemed like she was, like, that single mom that's like, "I'm preparing my daughter to take care of herself. She's gonna be independent. She's gonna, succeed in everything, and, she's gonna be okay," kinda thing, and she I thought was not naive, and now I think she might be a little bit of that. Or maybe Wynn's mom was, like, ostracized or something, like, maybe asked questions or something, like, wouldn't they ask questions like, "Why are we barriered away from the rest of the galaxy?" And these kids are like, "There's thousands of planets?" Like, they had no
Well,
idea.
that's what I'm saying. Like they're so sheltered. That's what I think that's what's really intriguing me, right? Like Star Wars has tried to really over the last few series add something more. But I think what this is it captures like the Star Wars spirit where we're all just in awe of this galaxy, of these Jedi, like these beings that are powerful and the stars, so to speak, because they had the same reaction as Rey did in The Force Awakens when they got up to the stars. When she saw green, she's like, "Wow, it's so green," and they were like, "Wow, there's so many stars." And so they did a really great job of just capturing that sense of wonder and the sense of spirit and adventure that Star Wars is known for. And I think that's why I gravitated to it. And then this episode right here, they're they're not like the story is, hey, these kids are lost, they're trying to get home. But very very laid out. We know what the story is. But now we're introducing like, hey, there's something more with this planet. Hey, Jude Law, his character is altruistic. Like there's something more going on with him. Is he a Jedi? Is he a pirate? Who knows? His name is might not even be what his name is, because I forget the name that she called him by.
Crimson Jack. He's in the
That's what it was.
comics.
Crimson Jack. Yes. And so it's like, okay, Crimson Jack. Interesting. The plot begins to
Why,
thinking.
like they still going with Jack? Like that's a very pirate name.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so
And Crimson, that's not good. You also have Crimson Dawn. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? I mean, Red Jack. I
yeah.
mean, I feel you could just be a murderer.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly. And so they start to like add in these questions, and I think that's what's really exciting, while keeping, and not for nothing too, like the past series, like Kenobi, Ahsoka, they filmed on that sound stage that they have there, the volume stage. This
Mm.
looked great. Like the CGI for the space and the ships flying through looked really good. I thought, the brightness of it all looked really cool. The planets, and they're actually showing a variety of aliens as well, which I thought was really great, because I think they kind of shied away from that in recent series of showing like, hey, we are a Star Wars. Like there's a lot of other species. There's a werewolf leading the pirates that mutinied against Jude Law, for example. Um, and so all those things kind of like make this perfect storm of, this series is capturing my attention, and it kind of like just draws me in, and I'm really kind of excited about Star Wars again because of the series.
Yeah, it's like one good little episode, and then you get hyped about all of it. Like the comics, I want to read the more books, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It really brings you in. So I have a lot of questions, and I think they're going to answer those. And I think there's like 7 or 8 episodes. We're only on 3, and so it's
I
really
hate that they're
fun.
so short, though. Ugh, it's like a
That's my other
tease.
thing. Like, I wish we can follow the HBO model almost of like full on hour-long episodes.
Like Dune's been
Just
like an hour
because,
and 10 minutes every week.
yeah, Dune, Penguin, like
Yeah,
those shows are
mini
full
movie.
episodes. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
these are like
think that's,
sitcom length.
well, I think that's where, again, Lucasfilm's department needs to differentiate. So I think Ahsoka and The Acolyte would have absolutely benefited from full feature length episodes. Whereas this one, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's still to be, who knows. But you don't always have to do full 50, 60 minutes. You don't always have to do 25 minutes plus credits. Like, switch it up,
I
man.
guess I'd rather it be
There's,
like 4 episodes and have them be like 2 and 1 or something. I don't know. I feel like one's
right.
not enough.
Well,
Maybe that's
it
just the society we live in
look,
now because we're spoiled and want instant gratification.
yes, but I mean, look at the Acolyte, right? Like they cut that one, the best battle of the entire like Star Wars almost. They cut it in half. Like things started getting good and they cut it. And so you're kind of like, oh man, it felt weird. Whereas they
The
could have made
whole
it one
show
long
felt weird,
episode.
yeah.
Well, exactly. Like I feel
There's so
like
much potential in
Marvel.
that episode, so much potential. I
Same with
don't
Marvel.
know.
Like how often were these Marvel TV shows going to 4 episodes, telling like a long story? They get to episode 4 of like 6, and they're like, oh
Yeah,
shit,
and we're like,
that's
"How are they
right.
gonna wrap this up?" Yeah, I felt like you feel like
Exactly.
that with just about all of them, even WandaVision, which I think WandaVision was perfect, but we
Right,
were
but
just so
even then they're like,
confused for so long. Agatha, I don't think we felt
that
that
was
way.
damn near perfect, because I feel like they finally figured out how to fit their story into like the time length. But again, I think that's why we should get longer episode if they calls for it,
Right, and that's the
Daredevil or whatever
beauty
it may
oh,
be. Like
if Daredevil's like 20-minute episodes, I'm gonna sign a petition.
we're clearly here to watch the content. Don't shy away from 30, because I feel like if you're targeting for 20 to 30-minute episodes, I almost feel like you're targeting for a younger demographic who has a shorter attention span. Whereas like us, we'll sit there. Like we have proven to sit there
I
and
didn't even
watch
think about that.
long ass TV episodes. Yeah, I agree. 24
Oh,
episodes, like
man.
Supernatural, 40
Now
minutes,
they're like, "We'll give you
24
24
episodes.
episodes over 10 years."
Yeah, you're lucky to get 24
HBO,
episodes
I'm
in
looking at
10
you,
years. Um,
right? Well, it's like
it's,
3 seasons with 8 episodes.
but at the same time, like HBO goes 60 minutes. So it's
Yeah,
8 hours
that makes
worth
more
of
sense.
television per season. I'm cool with that
See,
versus
here's right.
the
But
other
like with
thing.
streaming, you look at Supernatural, and obviously that's one of my all-time favorite shows, but it does suffer from the fact it was on the CW for more than one reason. One of them being they were forced to be within that 40 minutes. And I've listened to enough podcasts on it now that I know they're like, "Oh yeah, we did almost like a promo for the following season because we had 2 minutes we needed to fill." But it's like they had to do fillers at some point, and some stories had to get cut that shouldn't have gotten cut. You don't have
Yeah.
that with Disney Plus, I'm assuming, since all the episodes are different lengths. So it's like I
Yeah.
feel like you have you I mean, it's so easy to say this because I have no idea what their budget is. I have no idea what their contracts are. I have no idea any of the behind the scenes stuff. But from a viewer, if you need 20 minutes, take the 20 minutes. If you need an hour, take the hour. But why are all these Star Wars shows so fucking short?
Right. You shouldn't like put yourself in a box. You shouldn't like everything shouldn't follow the same exact formula. I don't think you got to have that variety. Variety is always going to, as I throw my phone.
I was like, "What'd you do?"
Well, I was I
Is that the
was
Christmas
trying to
tree
look
behind
something up
you?
real quick.
Was that Christmas
Yeah,
tree behind you before?
no, Carrie she
Oh,
decorated
so
that.
you what? Put it on just me? Had Carrie put it up and then took it off, and then the
No, Carrie didn't
Christmas
put it.
tree
She left
appeared?
it here. And then I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna put it right here to show her work." And then she also brought in like the
Ah.
gingerbread Marvel characters and DC characters that we get.
Oh,
So we used
yeah,
to
I see
decorate our
them.
kids' bathroom gingerbread themed, but our kids just leave their bathroom a mess right now, and nobody goes in there. So we didn't do that this
What's the
year.
point?
When Mountain in Idaho, it was like a 1-story house. So when we had a lot of people come over, so like the guest bathroom was always
Your
decorated.
bathroom downstairs is so cute, but I guess you don't
Oh
really have
yeah.
anywhere to put them in there.
No, that doesn't fit the theme. So this right here is an espresso machine that my mom got us for Christmas, but I can't open until Christmas. I just know what it is. um, she asked what I wanted. I said an espresso machine. I sent one from Best Buy that I wanted. She said, "Don't buy it." I said, "Okay." So that's what this bad boy is.
That's
I
hilarious.
was like, "All right." There's a tree now with a present next to
So
it.
the
So
espresso is under the tree. My dad
uh,
gave me his espresso machine, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll use it." It's been in our house for maybe 3 years. I've never used it.
I was given an espresso maker from my friends up in New Hampshire when I went to visit, and I used that bad beast
I
at
just need to
work.
learn how to
So I
use
keep
it.
that at work. I feel, yeah, I'm so stoked. I want to make espresso. I want to do all the bougie coffee stuff. But yeah, that's what that
I
is.
like the idea, but then when it comes time to it, I'm just like, I'm just gonna make coffee that's the quickest. Kaylee even brought back from, I think, Rome or something the year after she graduated from high school, cute little espresso cups for each of us. And when she moved out, she took hers and left mine. And I'm like, why don't you just like? But we never made espresso. We even bought espresso
Really?
beans, and we
All
just
right,
never
Sabrina
made it.
Carpenter. She'd be so disappointed in you right now.
Why would she be disappointed in me?
One of her songs is espresso.
Oh, did you know I
Oh my
just learned
God,
that
get with it.
Sabrina Carpenter is Corey Matthews' daughter's best friend?
Oh,
I found
really?
this out like a week ago. I think somebody had a shirt or something, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like Corey Matthews' daughter's best friend." And they're like, "'Cause it is." I didn't know that was
Hmm.
her. So the more you know.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I don't really have anything else on Skeleton Crew. Do you have any other thoughts you want to talk about before we kind of wrap up this week's Canteen Hour?
I want the elephant, the Neil St. Pauli's
Oh,
girl,
oh yeah, 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 yeah. They had like a nod
the
to the
sign.
beer in there.
It
It
was
was
I
really
took a
cool.
pi I paused it and took a picture of it, and then you sent me something
I
somebody
did,
else,
I did.
shared it, and I was like, "Yep, I need that." Yeah, no, Creature Commandos. Do you wanna drop any of that real quick or no?
I've only watched the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos. I'm really enjoying it. I know this is like the first introduction into the DC new universe. And uh, you know,
Kinda, not really, because other things count too. This is
yeah,
confusing.
I don't really I need to go back and rewatch the first 2 episodes, I guess, because I watched them kind of like, oh, I'm by myself. Let's just watch this real quick. So I need to go back and rewatch before I can give like real actual thoughts. But I liked that they connected and talked with Rick Flag Sr., played by Frank Grillo. about the events of Peacemaker. I do like the Creature Commandos. They're the Suicide Squad, but different. Different.
Uh-huh. You have
But I
Weasel.
thought the animation was awesome. Yeah, Weasel's still there. I do like that it connects, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So I need to like kind of rewatch and bring my thought because there's just so much right now. It's Christmas season. If you know me, I'm obviously watching Hallmark Christmas movies,
On our next
and
episode, he
then
talks Hallmark Christmas movies for 20 minutes.
yes, we are dropping a episode on Monday where we are talking about TV Christmas specials, and I do talk about because we always start with what are we drinking, what are we reading or watching, what's the news, and then our main topic. So I do talk about my Hallmark love. Um, don't worry, come January we're back to the good stuff again. But I yeah, so I got to go back and Creature Commandos like has my attention, but it doesn't fully have my attention yet
Throughout the
because
year,
there's just so much going on.
you'll still
I
throw a
do.
random Hallmark-esque movie that's not holiday in. Like, every now and then, you're just like, "I need to talk about whatever this is real quick."
I do because I love rom coms. Yes, we do need to watch, and I do want to say that this year's Hallmark movies have
You need to write a
slapped
Hallmark
so
movie.
far. Okay,
Oh, was it Tracy that sent
Tom,
something like,
what is a pirate's favorite vegetable?
"Oh,
I don't know.
it's a buckaveer of
Orange for the
corn."
vitamin C, scurvy.
That's not a vegetable, it's a pirate's favorite vegetable. I feel like it has to have something to do with corn.
I
Like,
don't
how much
know.
does a
What is
pirate
it?
pay to get his
Don't
ear pierced?
don't leave me
A
hanging, Tom. Before we wrap up, I
buccaneer.
need to know, man. In
Alright,
the
well, we
meantime, while
wait
we
for
wait for the
Tom to
answer,
respond. What's a
next
pirate's
week
favorite letter?
it is corn. Corn
It's
vegetable.
corn,
Okay,
'cause it's
I
a
don't really think it's.
buccaneer or something. Something it has
Oh,
something to do with a
an
buccaneer.
ear. Oh, I don't know.
That's
Anyways,
yeah.
December 19th, Buccaneer. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, oh, I'm dumb. December 19th, anyways.
Oh,
We are
'cause
doing
it's
a
an ear of
Christmas.
corn.
Yes, we are doing a
I just knew
Christmas
that's how much they
variety
pay to get
show.
their ears pierced.
No, we are doing a Christmas variety show December 19th, where people like Tom sent us a poem. We have a cool intro. I might do a little Hallmark spoof. We're going to be live at 8 p.m.
Oh,
Eastern,
I hope
December
you do.
19th. And we're going to play clips throughout and just bullshit and have fun. Monday is going to be our pre-recorded episode, but we do like to go live. So if you've enjoyed this live stream of talking about Skeleton Crew, we are getting back into our lives talking about Skeleton Crew. We'll probably get Creature Commandos going. Make sure to let us know that though
Oh, and
by
Dexter's gonna be
subscribing.
starting. Oh, you don't watch Dexter.
Dexter's
I
going
will
to be
talk about
starting. Well, no, but still, nonetheless, like we love to talk about on our lives TV shows that we're watching, whatever's going on. So if you like what we were doing, go ahead, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, drop us a line at hopsgeeknews@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on social media, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram. Like we're every just Hopsgeek News, man. That's where we're at. And hopsgeeknews@gmail.com is where you can find us. December 22nd, we will be doing our Patreon movie night where we watch Die Hard together. So once a month, we get together the patrons and we just hang out, watch a movie together. You get our ad-free episodes as well. So Hopsgeek News or patreon.com/hopsgeeknews, excuse me, is where you can find those. And then, yeah, we'll be back next week, December 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern, doing a Christmas variety show, taking it back to the 90s, man, like the old school days where you would just have random stuff go out. And that's what we like to do, randomness.
We're gonna tap
February,
in with Bing
if you are in the,
Crosby.
yes, if you're in, actually, December 21st, if you're in the Virginia area, Hampton Roads, I will be doing a comic book drive to benefit comics for Christmas. So you come to Bird Girl Bottle Shop in Newport News. They have the best pizza in Hampton Roads, I promise you. And bring a comic book to either donate or talk to somebody about comics. Bring some games if you like Magic, if you like Pokemon, whatever it is. Bring that with us or with you. And we're going to hang out, play games. We're going to eat pizza. Santa Claus will be there. So bring your kids. Bring a comic book to donate to go to a good cause. We'll be doing that December 21st from 11 to 3 p.m. Bird Girl Bottle Shop. And then February, MegaCon, we got picked up for 2 panels. Friday is at 11:30 a.m. is our actors/actresses who got their start in horror movies. And then Sunday is going to be a supernatural panel. So, hey, man, we're everywhere.
So, yes, Tom just said that the specials go back further than that. They 100% do. We even talked about it. I made a special presentation sign that's like very 70s-ish that's going to kick off that episode. And Matt, do you know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
Arr!
No, it's the C.
Oh, that's you silly goose. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, it's the C. Damn it, that's so
That's my
good. Oh,
stepdad's joke.
I
I
should have
only
hit
steal
end it
jokes.
right
I got
here.
nothing
Oh, that's a
originally
really good one, man.
said.
Fuck, I love that one. Damn it, I'm gonna use it with my kids tomorrow. That's so good. Let's
It's
end it
pretty
there,
good.
guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out this night. Everybody in the chat, thanks so much. As always, follow us. We'll be back next week. Cheers, everybody.